Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
When Patrick Murphy assumed the role of CEO of Codex back in 2019, little did he know that the business was set to face its most challenging period since it was established back in 1979. However, the ability of the company to adapt to the changing work environment has seen its revenues grow to €33 million. Patrick, Codex recently conducted a survey about remote working habits, and we'll be discussing the findings of the survey shortly. But first, I'd like to hear about your father's vision for Codex when it was established back in 1979.
Great to be on, and thanks for having me. Yeah, just I suppose for your listeners, Codex, we're Ireland's largest B2B provider of office supplies and services across 5 main categories: office supplies, facilities management, print and design, furniture, and more recently technology. As you referenced, it was set up by my father in 1979 when he noticed a gap in the marketplace for reliable service-driven office products. It's evolved since then, grown year on year. Today we employ 90 staff, have 18 vans servicing the island of Ireland, and had our biggest year last year with sales of 33 million.
How has the business evolved over the past 44 years, and what have been the key factors to its success in your opinion?
Innovation. It's a business that always adapts from when it started in 1979. I think the best example of that would be when COVID hit. We could have buried our head in the sand. We didn't. We kept investing, we kept innovating, we kept everyone on the payroll, and we worked hard to make sure that when we came out of COVID, that we were in a strong position. So, definitely our success has always been that about innovating and reinventing ourselves over the 40 years plus of our business. Even over COVID, we went from merchandising offices and looking after, offices in towns and cities across Ireland. We pivoted to home deliveries. We pivoted to, offering new products and services for our customers, from going from paper-based products to a more technology focus, to making sure, that we were providing products that were suitable for the home market. So, where our success comes from is that constant innovation comes from our people. We've a fantastic team. We're a great place to work the last 4 years. So, between our people, our innovation, and the final one I would say is our willingness to invest in the Irish marketplace. We're here for the long haul.
And Patrick, how disruptive a force was COVID on the business?
It was devastating. Look, it was a really tough time. It was a really tough time for Irish business in general. As a company who services Irish business, you can obviously, and particularly services a huge amount of corporate Ireland, you can imagine the impact that it had of all businesses being shut. But look, we kept at it. As I said, really one of the things I'm proudest of is we kept everyone employed throughout the pandemic, and we kept working hard. We kept working on projects and initiatives that would make a difference when we came out of COVID. We worked on new products and services that we thought would be relevant to the home market, and just, I suppose, kept on questioning what we're doing and making sure that we were fighting fit when we came out from all the restrictions. So, look, delighted that we kept everyone employed. Our sales did drop. We dropped down to 25 million in sales in 2021. But all that hard work that we put in saw us bounce back in 2022 to 33 million worth of sales. And I said it's great that momentum has continued into 2023. We're on track to do our best every year, finishing up close to 40 million.
In terms of remote working, how has it changed the way in which you operate the business?
Yeah, well, I think it's a strange one with remote working in that I think it was thrust upon us completely unexpected, and I think a lot of business just it was necessity that we had to do it. I think there was a lot of questions in how do you make this work, and how do you make this work the long time. I think there's obviously the difference between the last 2 years where it just happened. I think there's a lot more now in questioning, what works for employees, what works for employers, how do we get this to work best for everybody. And I think, that starts with really good, open, honest communication. It starts with engaged staff. It starts that they feel that they've the trust with an employer where they can say what's working and what's not. I think a challenge maybe a lot of people have done is they've just implemented policies without maybe thinking of the impact of them. And, we've spent a huge amount of time in asking our staff how they feel, what's working, what's not. And again, also, if we do something like around remote working, like saying that when we're in the office, we're there to engage, we're there to collaborate. You have to spend that extra bit of time ensuring that you're actually getting that result. That's changing maybe how you set up the office, or ensuring that you're not doing Teams meetings or you're not doing online meetings when you're in the office on these days, that you are actually putting people in a room you're putting people face to face so that you're giving them the best chance to collaborate and do the things that you want to do in person.
And of course, you're a hybrid employer yourself. You have an unusual model in that you bring all staff in 1 day per month at a company level and then at a departmental level. How's that working?
It's working really well. I mean, what's great about it is when you talk to staff, they're excited. It's 1 day a week that we have everyone in with their department. So the idea being they are all connected. They're working closely together. But what's great about it is they're excited coming into the office, and that's what we wanted to create. And the days in the office are different than the days than when people are working from home. I mean, a lot of people's roles, they can be done remotely, and it's important to acknowledge that. But similarly I would see it as a huge competitive advantage, the closeness that we are together as a staff. So I think, you want people in on the department days. You want people to be connected. You want, on the company days, you want everyone in, and you want, as a staff, we've 90 staff looking to grow to 100 into 2024. You want to keep that connection strong.
And Patrick, the company has over 4,000 active clients. How have you acquired them over the years?
Huge amount through word of mouth. We don't lose customers. We have a very high retention rate, so that's a good place to start. We win a lot of government business through tenders and through contracts, through commercial. So we get requested to quote for a lot of large corporate tenders and that. We also get business we've grown through a lot of acquisitions over the years as well. So a number of different ways that we've grown. I think we're acknowledging that we need to maybe give even more resource into our online focus and to focus on lead generation through that. We're investing heavily in our marketing and team. We've grown from essentially a couple of years ago not really having a marketing department to one of a team of 5, and we're looking to invest in that even more in 2024 because that is where the next generation of buyer is, and are very cognizant we don't want to get left behind on that.
And Patrick, what percentage of your business is won through government contracts?
Probably, so stationery has always been our bread and butter, office stationery. So a huge amount of our contracts for government would have been won through that. So it's about 50% of our business is government and about 50% is in corporate or Irish SME. The great thing about, I suppose, how we're diversifying our products and services is traditionally it would have, out of that 50%, nearly all would have been stationary contracts in the government space, where we're winning a lot more furniture at the moment. We're winning a lot more technology contracts in that space. We're winning a lot more print and design in that space. So what's good, I suppose, from us is we still have a lot of government business. It still is around 50% of all our sales. But I suppose on a positive is it's more diverse, so it's not as reliant on stationery. Stationery, I suppose, in the marketplace is in decline. And we want to make sure that, we're winning contracts, we're winning long-term contracts with key customers in new spaces. So that's part of our a lot of our strategic planning is to that diversify away from office supplies solely.
And of course, the emerging trend is digital transformation. How is that going to be of benefit to you going forward?
I think we want to be seen as a leader. We want to be seen as, somebody who embraces all things, a modern approach to business. So be it our approach to flexible working, that we embrace that. Similarly with online, with technology, I mean, we've invested 2 million in our systems and applications over the last 2 years. And, we're looking to reap the benefits out of that. We're looking to be, I suppose, a leader online. We're looking to embrace all the latest technology, all the latest applications, all the latest best ways of working. And we think that will maybe will allow us to stand out from the crowd.
And Codex recently commissioned a survey about remote working. What prompted the company to conduct the survey, and what were its key findings?
Yeah, I mean, so the survey, I suppose I'll start with maybe just the findings of the survey. We surveyed a large group of office workers in Ireland to understand how they use their annual leave entitlement and how they switch off from work in general. And the results from it were really interesting, and we were surprised to learn that many employees were struggling to set boundaries in the age of hybrid working. We knew there were challenges, but maybe not to the degree that the survey highlighted. For example, 3 in 4 hybrid or remote workers continue to work out of hours or even when they're sick. The majority of businesses, while encouraging staff to take annual leave, 20% of hybrid workers don't take their full annual leave for fear of falling behind. 55% of those on holiday have felt compelled to stay connected, as in checking emails and answering calls. And 45% of workers felt burnt out. So, I mean, staggering stuff, some staggering statistics there of what the surveys come back. in answer to your other question, I suppose, around the why we did it, I suppose we're keen to understand where the marketplace is at, what is working well for Irish businesses and what is not. We're keen to, as a supplier for office products and services, we're keen to understand where the marketplace is at and how businesses are adapting to flexible work approaches. So it's important for us to engage in the marketplace and to do these sort of surveys to understand how Codex can maybe help improve how businesses are operating in the future.
And what are the main reasons why remote workers are struggling to switch off from work?
I suppose my reading of it is that I think it's important to acknowledge that remote working is so new to us. And I think it's important to say that that these are the sort of conversations employers should be having, is in to understand why. So while it didn't go into the specifics of why, I think it's really interesting, and it's something that maybe a lot of business should be aware of. And I would maybe, I suppose, suggest to businesses, or are they having these conversations with staff about how they're getting on, how they're managing that ability to switch off when working from home. I mean, it's something I've struggled with myself since COVID is in switching on and off from work, particularly when I'm working at home. With the young kids, it's very hard to just switch on and off from work. If you have a 5-year-old walking into your office when you're on a busy call, this is all new to us, and I think it's important that we have, we've open and honest conversation with staff around what is working and what is not.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Patrick Murphy, the CEO of Codex, and we wish Patrick continued success with growing his business.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.